right, so here we are. We're at the Real Trends 2010 event, and we just stepped outside to talk about what's going on inside there. The panel that's up there right now are some of the largest brokers or CEOs of brokerages in the country, all names you would recognize. And they're in there talking about discussing what the title of this panel is, the Brokerage Office of the Future, which I've heard that term used many times, and I was hoping to maybe see hopefully the brokerage is starting to get it. But here's what was being talked about on this panel. First of all, the Brokerage Office of the Future looks nothing like it does right now. When you look at the overall biggest problem the industry has today, it has absolutely nothing to do with what they're talking about in there. It has to do with one thing, and that's the consumer experience, period. Let me give you an example. If I asked you, do you know the difference between a Ritz-Carlton and a Motel 6, can you answer the question? In your mind, you already know there's two distinctly different brands, and they mean two completely different things, and they're completely in the same vertical but in different areas. So if I ask you what's the difference between Coldwell Banker, Remax, Century 21, Prudential, ERA, Better Homes and Gardens, can you tell me any distinct difference or advantage that any of those companies have over one another? Probably not. There is no distinct advantage. The reason is because the consumer experience is different no matter where you do business with them. You can come to Lawton, Oklahoma, and you can buy a house from me, and you can go to Texas, New Hampshire, anywhere else in the world you want to go do business with Coldwell Banker and have a completely different process or experience. So when you go to McDonald's, no matter whether you like McDonald's or not, the cheeseburger is going to be the same every time. You're going to get the same experience. You know what to expect. The reason that there's no loyalty in the real estate industry is because every time you go somewhere, there's a completely different experience. So until the industry realizes that you have to control the experience of the consumer, meaning you have to have proven, repeatable processes for someone to sell their home and have the best possible experience and sell their home for the most money in the shortest time, or proven, repeatable process for the buyer experience to have the same opportunity, then you're not going to ever change the industry. So it's not about, they're in there talking about the 5% of the dollar that comes into your real estate company or your real estate business, if you're an agent or broker, it doesn't matter. Of all the expense, office for me is about 5% of my overhead. They're in there talking about that 5%, and they're giving away 70, 80, 90 cents, 95 cents of the dollar to the agent and letting them try to manage the overall consumer experience, which every agent is different, every experience is different. Your brokerage is planned to fail. That's called lose before you start. There's no strategy involved whatsoever, and just letting the agent gunsling it out there in the brokerage doing the same thing, doing something different than the guy next door to him is doing, because the consumer will never come back to the brokerage. You're not going to build a brand that has customer loyalty and has a durable competitive advantage by doing that. So anyways, I just had to get that off my chest. If you want to change the industry, you have to change and manage the consumer experience. These 90 and 95% brokerage models are out the door. There's no money in that. Who wants to be with a 95%, 5% potential split, profit to the company? There's no money in it. Peace. We're going back in there.